Hey team, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to the channel. As always, thought we'd take on a slightly different subject matter today, and let me quantify what I'm about to say. This is not a statement of arrogance of that I think I am great. That's not what I mean. But today,
Hello.
But today's video is about being fucking great. Be the best you possibly can be. But alongside that is, don't be afraid to be inspired. So many of us, particularly as I've been doing these videos and it's reaching more people and people are coming back to me and it's amazing. Weirdly, a lot of people don't put their comments below in the comments. Quite a lot of people have found a way to private message me through all the channels, which wherever the feedback comes from, I'll take it, so thank you. But it's, how did I do this or how did I do that? And I'm like everyone else. Have I had a good career? Yes. Have I had an inverted commas success? Probably. But maybe I view life slightly differently and I think it's achievable for everybody. And as I say, I don't profess to think that I am great.
Because your work has stood the test of time. Because you've stood the test of time. And we stand with you to say congratulations on receiving the AFI Life Achievement Award. Let's all raise our glass to Alfredo James Pacino, or as many of us know you, Al Pacino.
I have been very good at what I have done and I have been great in some of the jobs that I have had, and I've been really lucky to be surrounded by great people. But a lot of that, whilst there is luck, you earn that luck. And the purpose of this video was about, as I said at the beginning, don't be afraid to be inspired. Be the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's not for me to preach and we're going to get all deep and meaningful. It's not. It's about a set of simple views and principles that we can all have that guide our decision making and our ability to achieve the things that we dream of and hope that we do, that we hope we can achieve. Because I'm so frustrated with hearing about all the reasons someone cannot achieve something, all the reasons why they don't do it, all the reasons that they can't. And yeah, we're not going to achieve everything, but if you start out with that mindset, the chance of you succeeding is slim to non-existent because you don't have that innate belief that it is possible. And your own greatness is something you can control. To be great does not mean that everyone needs to know your name, doesn't mean that you need to be on the 6 o'clock news or that you need to be a multimillionaire. In the context of your life, in your surroundings, your friends and your family, just be the greatest version of yourself that you can possibly be. Because we all have limitations, we all have restrictions and reasons why we might not achieve some of the things we hope in our wildest dreams. But sure as shit we should have a go. That's the minimum requirement for life as far as I'm concerned. Have a go. Show up. Turn up to your own existence. Achieve something that felt maybe a stretch beyond what you thought imaginable. But if you set out with the ambition to just do okay, you're not going to achieve those wildest dreams. And I absolutely defy anyone to tell me that they don't have ambition, because they do. Whether it's been knocked out of them, suppressed through a lack of self-belief, a lack of self-confidence, there isn't a single person I've ever encountered that doesn't have an innate desire to achieve something. But some people go so far from that position that when I'm talking to them and I ask them, they don't even have the courage to tell me what they most want for life, what their biggest ambition, what their biggest hope is. Well, they've not even thought about it, which I find mind-blowing. We only get one shot at this, so we sure as hell better make it a good one, in my opinion. So yeah, what does it look like? What is that mindset? And for me, it's never allow anybody to create the boundaries of what you can achieve. The only boundaries that should be in your life are the ones you choose to build. And even those you need to knock down, but that's not easy done. We all have things that we think we can do and there's things that we think we can't. And we've got to attack those ones that we can't, because we really genuinely can achieve stuff if we put our mind to it. I've done other videos about when I was told I wouldn't do any kind of serious physical exercise again post some fairly significant surgery, and I rode the length of the country twice actually later on after another lot of surgery. And I've done a multitude of other things, and as I say, this is not about me saying I'm great. It's about a mindset of how you achieve and how you overcome stuff. And potentially, and as I say, it's not for me to preach, tell others how to live their life. I maybe don't have the same inhibitions that other people have. They're in me. There's an insecurity and there is a fear, but I'm driven, as I say in every video, by the idea and the motivation of what could be achieved rather than the fear of what could happen should I fail. The fear of what should happen if I fail keeps me alive, keeps me hungry, makes me want to work harder, try harder, do better due diligence in business and not miss a trick. But it doesn't serve to render me impotent. And what I mean by that is that the idea of failure becomes so frightening that I'm actually unable to function as I would were I not in fear. And it's about this liberated mindset. And I'm not encouraging everyone to go out there and make reckless decisions with their careers and their jobs and their lives. Far from that. Actually, I've made a set of decisions in my life that has facilitated me being able to go off and do the things I want in the long term. So from the age of 20 when I started earning, I think my 20 post-surgery, my first ever salary, or maybe I was 19, was £18,000 a year, and a £2,000 bonus. And by the time I was about 22, I think I was on about £40,000 a year, maybe 23. But it's relative, and at that age, that jumped massive. To double your salary, your take home is so much larger. But I made the decision that I was going to squirrel some away for what the next investment might be, and I think I bought some burger vans, I think, at that point with a mate. But all these little things go on. Obviously, I had my own company doing the sport and leisure at the same time, where I put a little bit of that money in. But you're creating these opportunities for yourself, you're having a go. And don't get me wrong, all these things don't always work perfectly. Did I lose money on them? No. Did they make me a fortune? Not remotely. But actually, don't make the same mistake twice when it's your own money. If you forever spend your time in employment, money doesn't have the same perceived value. When it's your own money and you make a bad mistake, believe me, you don't make it twice. And if you do, you sure as shit learn how never to make that mistake ever again. And it puts you in a kind of higher state of alert. You see things differently. You put an extra level of effort in that you can never replicate when it's someone else's money. So for me, the idea of being the best version of you can, I'm not just talking about in work. I'm on about pushing yourself to experience things in lives, the adrenaline, the thrill. And a lot of my career, that's what I'm chasing. I had a moment where, not that my dad ever didn't believe that I could achieve things in my career, but I think it'd be fair to say he didn't think they'd come about at the speed they did and maybe with the success that they did. And I stood at the Ricoh Arena and a Bruce Springsteen concert was on, and there's hundreds of people involved in making this happen, but I'm one of the, I suppose, very senior team in the building. And my dad just said to me, "Can you believe that you did this?" And the hairs went up on my arms, and actually that moment, that's what I'm chasing. That's what I'm chasing, that buzz, that adrenaline, that fix that can't be ordinarily achieved. So for me, it was about setting out to do a bunch of things that I had the ambition to do, to want, and how you then go about achieving them. Because to want them is one thing, but to actually attain them is a complete and utter other thing. So I remember when I was 20, I wrote what I wanted to achieve by the time I was 30, and I did those things. For me, they were simple. It was to, at the time, I used money as your measure, and as I actually got older, I recognised that money didn't hold the importance maybe I thought it would have at that age, particularly with what I was going through, and I thought I'd have to earn a certain amount of money by a certain amount of time. And I'd wanted to earn six-figure salary. by the time I was 30. I wanted to have a second house that I would rent out as an investment. And the other thing I wanted, which I didn't do, but I did something else which seemed really obscure at the time, I really wanted a sandwich shop.
Have a look at the cost of that sandwich. £4.70 for a cheese and pickle sandwich. And you're in such a daze, you just go and buy it, don't you? You just go. For the next few days, you keep looking at people. How much do you reckon I'll pay for a cheese and pickle sandwich?
God knows why. I think it's because there was this great sandwich shop that me and my now wife, but she wasn't all those years ago, used to go to every week when we were in Sheffield, called Woody's. Mega sandwich shop on Ecclesall Road. I thought it'd be lovely to have one of these. But it wasn't even about what the scorecard was. What was the thing that I was chasing? It was that I was chasing something. And it was never that I was chasing what was today. I was chasing what was tomorrow. But in order to get to tomorrow, I had to be the best version of today I could always be. Because actually, to do things probably in the speed I've done in my career, you have to operate at a high level quickly. Therefore, the self-education I've talked about in other videos, be the hardest working person in the room. All these things count. They're those percentage marginal gains we talked about in another video, where you're giving yourself an exponentially greater chance of success than the next person because of what you're willing to give, what you're willing to pick up, what you're willing to understand. And that's for me about what being the best version of yourself can be. As I say, I'm not making this out to be all about me, but I think I'm doing a great job at being the best version of myself I can be. I'm flawed, we all are. I'm an imperfect person in an imperfect world. But the one thing I can say throughout the health challenges, the kind of life turmoil that I've known, I've never let it beat me, and I never will let it beat me. And not only have I not let it beat me, I've flourished. I've achieved things that probably are beyond what necessarily I thought I could do. And it's all about mindset. It is within your grasp. It is within your control. Never, ever allow someone to tell you what you can and cannot do. That's not how life works. We all have bosses. There's always a leader. There's always someone who is your boss. But the best ones never tell you what to do. They tell you what we need to achieve and you work out how to go and do it. That is the same for your own life. You are responsible, you are accountable for your own life, for your own achievements and the direction that it takes. There are always circumstances that are beyond your control that change the course of your life. Losing my bowel, 18, 19 years old. Losing my mum in my early 20s. I could go on. The 9 other surgeries that took place. Did they affect me? Yes. Did they upset me? Yes. Did they knock my confidence? Yes. Did they ever damage my belief that I would achieve the things I wanted? No. They served as a motivation. I took those heartaches, those challenges, and I worked out the best way around the problems that I now faced. The parts of my life that were once there that aren't anymore. Actually, what that gave me the time to do was think about life. What do I want to do and how do I want to do it? And I played out, I imagine what that success looks like. So if I'm doing a public speech, if I'm talking to a client, if I'm in a negotiation, in my mind, I play out the scenarios I think that are going to take place. But ultimately, I imagine them ending in the outcome that I want. I plan for the worst, but I dream of the best. So that I've envisioned what that success looks like, so I don't get myself nervous about the idea of failure. It's what I talked about at the beginning of the video again. Be driven by the idea of what you could achieve, the adrenaline, the thrill, those moments that money can't buy when you've achieved something off the merits of your own hard work, rather than imagining the worst case scenario and being driven by the fear of what that failure could look like and mean for your life.
Fail big. That's right. Fail big. You only live once. So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances professionally. Don't be afraid to fail. There's an old IQ test, was 9 dots, and you had to draw 5 lines with a pencil within these 9 dots without lifting the pencil. The only way to do it was to go outside the box. So don't be afraid to go outside the box. Don't be afraid to think outside the box. Don't be afraid to fail big, to dream big. But remember, dreams without goals are just dreams, and they ultimately fuel disappointment. So have dreams, but have goals. Life goals, yearly goals, monthly goals, daily goals. I try to give myself a goal every day. And understand that to achieve these goals, you must apply discipline and consistency. You have to work at it every day. You have to plan every day. You've heard the saying, we don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Hard work works. Working really hard is what successful people do. Remember, just because you're doing a lot more doesn't mean you're getting a lot more done.
Doesn't mean be reckless, doesn't mean make rash decisions. That's actually so far from what I'm talking about. Most things that you do, if you're going to be successful, you have to work hard at. You have to methodically work your way through things, and you've got to think them through. It couldn't be further from rashness. But be great. Don't be afraid to be inspired. Never be embarrassed to be ambitious. Never be embarrassed to say that you're ambitious. And if you don't want to tell someone that you have the ambition, tell yourself. Never lose sight of who you are and what you want to achieve, and the destiny that you want to create for yourself. And everybody's destiny is different. Never judge another person's motivation. I have some of my closest friends in the world, and some of their motivation is money. That's no better or worse than my motivation of chasing the thrill, achieving something else that gives me the buzz or the excitement. No person's single motivation is better or worse than the other, but understand what motivates you, because what motivates you is then what will drive you to achieve those things. And reward yourself with the thing that you are motivated by. Make sure you celebrate the wins, but then go again, because it never stops. If you want to achieve stuff and you want to be the best version of you, I said it at the very beginning, it's not about being a multi-millionaire, it's not about being on the news, it's not about being famous, it's about being whatever it is that you decided you want to be, and going and doing it and smashing that journey to pieces, and then go again, because you'll get there quicker than you think, and then you go for the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. My biggest ambitions was to be a general manager in a football stadium. I did that at 23 years old, so you've got to have another ambition then. Be very easy to stop and just keep bouncing around clubs and go into bigger ones. That was never what it was about for me once I'd done it. It was about knowing I could go from the bottom to the top in the quickest time I could. But that doesn't make you flighty. Got to do a damn good job to do that. And then I went to another club to reaffirm that I was good at what I was doing, and another one, but it was bigger this time. Bigger businesses, greater turnover, more staff. And then I realised I didn't love the very thing that I loved anymore, which was sport. Because once you've seen behind the scenes, it doesn't have the allure. On to the next challenge. That happened to be kind of esports and big events for me. But that's the journey you take yourself on. Be hungry and be ambitious. And do you know what? If you're not, that's absolutely fine. But you can still be the best version of yourself that you can. Never, ever undershoot what you want for your life, because we can all do it. And some people will have more opportunities than others, and others will have less, sadly, whether that's circumstances, environment or background. Don't let it define you. The only thing that should define you is yourself and your mindset and the lengths that you're willing to go to succeed. Good things happen to good people, so as long as you're polite, respectful, humble along the way, what that does is grease the wheel. That makes the journey smoother. because people want good things for you rather than bad, or to kind of bask in your failure. They want to enjoy the success with you. So be a good person, but be ambitious. But by God, never be afraid to be inspired or to be ambitious. And that's it for today. As I say, the idea wasn't to preach, but as people have kind of come at me with, how did you do this or how did you do that? The answer is quite simple. A lot of hard work, a positive mindset, and a devout belief that it can be achieved. Not necessarily knowing how, but the belief that it can, because that gets you going every day, and with every day that passes you get a bit closer and a bit closer to achieving the very thing that you set out to. But be great, be happy, but most important of all, and more than ever right now, be safe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.